Hey everyone, welcome to the channel Fronted with Cycle. In today's video, we are going to dive into one of the most powerful tools you can use to create tables in your React application, which is TanStack Table. Whether you are building simple data grids or complex table with sorting, filtering, and pagination, this crash course gives you everything you need to know. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of how to create powerful and flexible tables in your React app. So let's dive in. First off, let's talk about what is TanStack Table is. You might have known it previously as React Table, but it has since evolved into something much more powerful and flexible. TanStack Table is a headless UI library that gives you full control over the look and feel of your tables. It comes with built-in support for TypeScript, making it a great choice for modern React apps. It's designed to be super flexible, allowing you to create tables with sorting, filtering, pagination, and even more advanced features like row selection and column rendering, all without being tied to any specific UI component. This means you get to decide exactly how your table looks and behaves. This is going to be our final product. Here you can see we have in the top we have a search bar, right? And this is our table. So here we have implemented a couple of functionalities. First, we can search any data from the table. For example, we can search by ID, we can search by name, we can search by email, and also we can search by phone number, right? And also we have a sorting functionality. If you click on the name, we can sort by ascending and descending both, right? And we can search by, I said we can search by any data from the table. For example, if I want to search Olivia, you can see the Olivia row is actually showing the search result, right? So for example, if I want to search by phone number, right, I can search it. You can see, okay, so I made a maybe mistake here. Let me try to search again. 777, you can see, and the 999, right? So 99 here, you can see we can search by phone number, right? And also we can search by ID and email too. If I want to sort the email, you can see it is starting from the D, right? If I want to again, if I click again, it will be sorting by descending order, you can see, right? So okay, searching, sorting, you saw that features, right? And we have a paginations too. Here you can see at this moment we are showing the 5 items, right? So if I select on the 10, we are seeing we have only 7 items, right? So that's why we are seeing the 7 items. But yeah, there is a limit. We can actually show the 5, 10, 20 and 30 items together, right? And since I'm on the actually, so let's go here, okay, 1 to 5, right? Now I can go to the second page, you can see, by clicking here. So this is a pagination functionality. Here you can see, right? So we saw there is a search, right? There is a sorting and there is a pagination. So this is our final product that we are going to build with a TanStack table, right? Okay, so before I start coding, we need a couple of things to start actually project, right? So I used here React, Byte and Tailwind, and also the TanStack query, right? So basically to start with this project, you need to create a project with a Byte. Here you can see I'm on a Tailwind website. Here if you search Tailwind, Byte and React, you will be you will get a link in the first. You can click on that and you will be redirected here. So you will find a step-by-step guide to create a React project with Byte with Tailwind, right? Here the first command, you can create a React project with Byte, and then you can install the Tailwind dependencies. You need to update your Tailwind config file. You need to add these utility classes in your index.css. You need to run, and at last you can actually update your app.jsx with this code, right? And finally, once you are done, you will be able to see a hello world, right? Hello world since here, right? You will get the content from here. And finally, we have to install the TanStack table. So if you search on the TanStack table, so you will go here. So you need to click on the TanStack table and the get started. So once you are here, you need to find out the installation step from in the left side, right? If you click on that, you will be able to redirect this page, right? So here we have a lot of options for React, Vue, Solid, Svelte, Quick, Angular, Lead, a lot of things, right? So we are focusing on the React, so you need to install these dependencies, right? npm install TanStack slash react hyphen table. So the step is, first you need to create a project with a byte. You need to install Tailwind, update config file, add this utility class, update your app.jsx, and then install this table, the TanStack table, and then you can run it, right? Once you run, you will see a hello world. If you completed that part, then you are ready to start coding with it, right? And you can see I have did the same thing. So I have updated my app.jsx file, and if I go to the package.json, you can see I have installed the React here, and I have installed Lucid React for the icons, right? And I have installed the TanStack, actually no, the React table one, right? So we are good here, and if I go here, and you can see the hello world. So now we can start working on the creating the table with searching, sorting, and the pagination functionality, right? So let's go to the app.jsx first. So let's remove it, make it. So one more things I want to mention. So here I am using a couple of dummy data. Here you can see I have a constant folder, right? And I have a data.json. So this is a couple of dummy data, right? I collected from a place. So you will be able to get this whole repo in the description below, repo link basically. So you can get the data.json file from there. I'll give the repository link description below, so definitely you can check it out and get the dummy data, right? So here you can see this is our data structure. We have a ID, we have name, we have email, and we have phone, right? Okay, first off we need to use a one hook, which is use react table, right? It will be a function, and we need to send a couple of information here, so it will return us a table, right? So here we need to define the data. So this data will come from this. So let's import it, const data from constant slash data.json, right? So we have to specify the data here, and also we have to specify the columns. So we have to create a column here. So basically the column would be, so const columns, we have to use another function called it is a create column helper. So it will come from actually TanStack React Table, right? So basically it will return as a column helper, actually not column, so we can name it as a column helper. So now if I want to specify the columns, what I have to do, so that should be an array, right? So here we have to use the column helper, and we will get a accessor function here, right? And we need to specify the field name. So for example, if I go here with our data structure, you can see we have our first field is the ID, right? So we have to specify the ID here, right? And then here we'll get an object here. So inside cell we have to actually, cell is a callback function, we'll get an info, right? So here we can, what we could do, info dot get value. So basically we'll get the ID value here, right? And what we can do, we can actually specify a header. So here header is actually a function, right? Callback function. Sorry, that has to be something like that with parentheses, right? And it will take a JSX here, right? So we can write any JSX here. So here what I did, I written a JSX here, right? And you can see I have used one of the icons here, which will come from the Lucid React. You can see user is coming from the Lucid React, and I have actually added the ID here, right? So this is the first column, which is the ID, right? So we can do the same thing for name, email, and phone number, right? So let's write it for the name. You can see I have written the same as that, how I written in ID. I got the name and I got the value from the info, and I have specified the here JSX, which is the header, right? So our header should be the name. So let's write it for the email and phone number. And For email, you can see a bit different here. First, you can see I have specified the email here, right? ID, and I can also specify ID here, which is the email, right? But in the cell here, you can see I can also write a JSX here too. Now, if you see our final product here, email is first of all, it's a blue color, right? And it's a italic format, right? So you can see here what I did, I added style as the italic, right? Font style as italic, and I have specified the text color, which is the blue, right? And this is the pure JSX that I have written. So basically cell, it will represent the value fields, right? And our header, right? The header should be the email. So definitely I have to bring the mail icon from the Lucid React. Yeah. So this is our actually email format, and let's do it for the phone number. So phone number is straightforward, how we did for ID and actually name. So same thing, cell, header. So we have actually defined a columns array, right? And we get the column helper from the create column helper function, which is coming from the TanStack table. And here we use a reuse React table, and we have to specify here the data and columns. So here we should not use actually directly this data is coming from the JSON file. We should not use this data directly here, right? So we need to maintain a state. What I can do, I can create a state. Here you can see I have created a state, and I copied all the mock data actually. So we can name it as a mock data here. Instead of data, what we can do, import mock data from constant slash data.json, right? So this is the mock data that I am receiving from the constant directory, and I have copied that mock data in this React state, and I'm getting a state variable, which is the data, and I have specified this data inside the use React table hook. Got it? Cool. So I have added a couple of styles here, you can see, just to show the content in the center of the page, right? So it's a normal CSS flex column and minimum height screen, right? So I have taken another div here. So I specified overflow X auto, BG white, shadow MD, and rounded LG. Okay, so here you can see I have taken a table tag here. So I have added a couple of styles for mean width full, minimum width should be full, divided y, and divided gray 200, right? So this is our table tag. Now we have to define table head and table body. So table head background should be BG gray 50. Now please give a concentrate here. We need to get the dynamically table heading from the use React tables, right? So we have defined the columns. If you actually see here, we have defined the columns here, right? The column heading, you can see the ID, name, email, and phone number. So we need to somehow get this data here in the table, right? Inside the T head tag. So how we can do that? Okay, if I want to console log the table, let's console log the table, right? So let's see what we get. If I go here, we do not have any data. That's absolutely fine. Okay, here you can see there is a one function called get header groups. So let me try to find out a function get header groups. Okay, here you can see we have a get header groups functions, right? So let's call it this function. Let's see what we get. Get header groups. Let's call this function. Now let's see. Now we are getting an array, right? So see, this array length is 1. That means just only one item is here, and we have a headers, right? So we are getting an array. This is an object. Inside object we are getting a headers array, right? And you can see here we have an ID, we have name, we have email, and we have phone number, right? So what we can do here, table dot header groups, right? Header get header groups. We can call this function. We'll get an array. Let's map it. We'll get header group, and and we have to specify a table row here, tr, and definitely we have to add a key here, right? So we can add header group.id here, right, as a key. Now inside tr, if you remember, now it's an object here. Header group is an object. We have a headers array here inside the header group, right? We have to map through again. Okay, you can see here I got the header groups, I got the headers. Since I have show you headers is an array, so I have mapped through these headers. Now I'm getting header. That means this specific one object, id, column, index, is placeholder, and others, all the informations, right? This is what we need. Now here I use a th tag, right? So since we need to add a key, since we are mapping through, right? So we have used header.id. We have a id here. If you can see id, that means id is equal to id, id is equal to name, id is equal to email, id is equal to phone number. So these all are unique, right? So what we have done here, we have used a th tag, and we have used a header id for the key, and we have used a couple of styles here, you can see as in the class name, right? Now let's take a deep here inside that. Now we have to use a function called flex render, which will come from the TanStack table to render the item, right? So what we can do here, you can see we use the flex render. It is actually coming from the TanStack table, and here we are rendering the header.column.column.dep.header and with the header.get context. So basically it is coming from the header object. If I want to go here, you can see we are getting this header, and we are getting the column.column.dep, right? That means this column.column.dep. So there is a bunch of information here, but from here we are getting the column.dep.header. So basically here you can say column.column.header. So header is a function that we have actually used here, you can see, and also header.get context, right? So if I save it, if I go to our actually browser here you can see I have actually seen here the id, name, email, and the phone number, and all the information that we have actually defined here inside the columns array. See, id, name, email, and phone number. Cool, right? So we have completed table header t-hat tag, right? Then all the headers information is coming from the dynamically which we have created a columns array, right? Now let's focus on to creating a table body. Okay, so I have taken a t body here, you can see, and I have specified a couple of styles that I have actually specified for the t head too, right? bg white, divide y, and divide gray 200. So same goes for the t head. We have to get the data from the use React table, right? The table body. How we can do that? So here, if I want to console log the get row model here, you can see to get the table body, right? Let's see what we will get here. So now I'm actually console logging this table.get row model, right? So if you go here, okay, I don't know, somehow the console log is not working here, but let me try here to access the information table.get row model, right? That has to be a function, and we will get a rows here. You can see the rows, right? So rows should be an array if I want to map, right? So let's take it row, right? And let's return tr from here. Oh shit. Okay, so we have to add a key. So here I have specified the key and the class name. Now insert the tr. So we are getting the row, right? Now this row will give us get visible cells function, right? It's an array. We have to map it through, and we'll get each cell, and we have to use it inside the td tag, right? And we have used the same flex render function, right? So basically it helps us to render the data, right? So let's save it and let's see how it shows. Okay, so I made a small mistake here. I need to add a one more thing here, which is the get core row model, right? So this is a function and that should come from the TanStack table, right? So let's save it and I should be able to see the data here, right? So for that reason actually we are getting the error. So basically what happened, now you can see I have added data columns and I need to add a initial information inside the object, which is the get core row model, and the get core row model will be a function and it is coming from the TanStack table. Here you can see, right? So now we are able to get the dynamic data, right? We have a 7 items here you can see, and which all are coming from the mock data that we have inside the constant directory. Here you can see we have a id 7. That means we have only 7 items and we are seeing it on the browser, which is coming dynamically. Cool. I just want to revise one more part here, which is the t-body. Since I wasn't able to show you properly how things are actually getting from the table, there is a one problem I have shown you, right, which is the get core row model, right? I forgot to actually import that. So what we can do, I can actually console log the table dot get row model. I can show you now. So see, we are getting a rows, right? We are getting a rows. Here you can see we have a 7 items. Here you can see rows. Inside the rows we are getting 7 items, right? So what we are doing here, we are getting table dot get header groups, sorry, not this one, here table dot get row model dot rows. That means we are getting these rows array and we are mapping it, right? We are mapping it and we use a t attack here. Now when we are mapping it, we are getting a row, we are getting a single object. That means these all the information here you can see, right? We are getting this. From here we are calling get visible cells. Let me find out this function, get visible cells. Okay, we are getting it here, right? Get visible cells, which is a function. Here you can see which is a function. Now from this function we are getting an array. We are not able to actually show you how things actually work, but you can assume, right? So get visible cells is a function. We are returning an array and we are mapping it with the td means what? The td tag, right? In the table data tag, right? And we are using the key, some styles, and we use the flex render function to actually render the data here. And we are getting the cell column and column dot cell from here. Same goes for the cell context. Actually how we did it for the headers here you can see like header dot column depth dot header. For here cell dot column depth dot cell dot get context. For here it was header dot get context. So by using that we are able to see the dynamic data here, right? This is the dynamic data, but the searching, the sorting, the pagination, all functionality is still left, right? Let's working on the first sorting one, right? Here, so to enable the sorting, first I'm using a state here you can see, which is the sorting and set sorting, which is a setter function, right? And now we have to use a state here, right? State, and we have to specify that sorting variable, the sorting variable that we are using here, right? And we have to obviously use a comma here. And now here we have to use a on sorting change and it will indicating the set sorting function, right? We have to bit work on that here, this t heading, right? So basically sorting will be work here, right? Here, right, in the table heading here you can see, right? We have to use a couple of actually icons here, which is top arrow up and arrow down, which is indicating the sorting functionality, right? So let's use it. Okay, so here you can see I have done two things. I have added a on click function here, which is in the div, right? So previously it was a normal div and I have added on click, since that sorting will be happen whenever you click on the table heading. For example, if you click on the name, so the sorting will be happen on the name column, right? If you click on the email, the sorting will be happen on the email column, right? So we have to get the specific column that we are getting it here in the div, right? And we use one of the function that React Table giving us, which is the get toggle sorting handler, right? So how we are getting that? You can see we are getting it from here, where we are having the header here, right? Header dot column dot get toggle sorting handler. This is a function, right? Now I have used styles here. You can see cursor pointer, select none, flex, and item center. So I have used another actually icons. Let me import that icon from Lucid React. Cool. So now if I save it, you should be able to see. Okay, you can see, right? That icon is showing here and cursor is pointer actually, right? Now let's click on the name. Okay, nothing is happening, right? Let me debug it. Okay, so here we made a small mistake. We have to actually get the sorted row model, right? So this get sorted row model function actually same, it will come from the TanStack table. Keep in mind, whenever you working on the sorting, you need to add these two things. First of all, you need to indicating the set sorting function to on sorting change, right? And also you have to get the sorted row model, right? Make sure this actually this get sorted row model will come from the React table. Here you can see, right? It is come from the React table, and you have to actually indicating the sorting change, which is your the setter function, right? Set sorting. I'm expecting it should work. Let me refresh. Cool, you can see now it is working, right? We are actually sorted. This name is sorted by ascending order, right? These should come first. You can see this actually coming first. Now if I click on that, that should happen the descending order. That means W will come first, right? Now if I click again, it will be the normal state. No ascending, no descending, it's a normal state, right? Same goes for the email. Here you can see email is working as expected. Same goes for the phone number. ID should work also fine. Cool, right? So we have implemented the sorting functionality, right? Now let's focus on the actually searching one here, the searching one. Let's go. Okay, so we can name it as a filter, right? So let's actually add one more state, which is the global filter, right? Here global filter and set global filter. So here same, we need to use the same two things on global filter change, which is indicating this actually set global filter, and we have to indicate the get filter row model, which will come from the React table. Let's import it and make sure here to specify the state, which is the global filter, right? Cool. Now we have to work on the actually the UI part here on top of the table, right? Let's add that. Okay, so here this is the code snippet I have added. So actually skip that because it will take a lot of time to write a lot of the small things like the class name, placeholder. I believe you all know how to write this, so that's why I actually skip that this actually static part. I'm just focusing on the dynamic TanStack table one, right? So here it's a simple input tag. I have used below as a global filter on change. It is indicating we are using the setter function, which is the set global filter, and we are getting the id means data, right? e.target.value, not id actually, sorry. And we are actually using one of the search icon, and it will come from the Lucid React, right? So now we should be able to see actually input, search input here. Now if I search by name, okay, you can see it is working actually, right? We can search by email too, right? At example, okay, there is all our example. Let's say the Daniel one, right? Cool, it is working. right? So let me review it one more time. Give me just 2 minutes. I'm reviewing again for the sorting and the filter, or whatever we could say, the search. For example, sorting. If I want to implement a sorting, what I have to do, I have to add one more state, which is the sorting. I have to actually declare the state here. You can see the sorting variable here, which we have used in the state, and we have to use we have to indicate two more information inside the use react table hook. First, we need to indicate the on sorting change, which would be our set sorting function, and we have to indicate get sorted row model, which will come from the get sorted row model function from TanStack table, right? Same goes for the filter. I have taken here a state, defined the state here in the use react table hook, and I have used same two information here to indicate on global filter change and get filter row model. And in the UI JSX, I mean, you can see here, right? I have used a simple input tag and the search icon, right? Cool. So we have implemented sorting, we have implemented filtering. Now the final one, which is the pagination one. Okay, to working on the pagination, first we need to define the initial state here inside the use react table. Here you can see I have defined the initial state, and pagination by default page size is equal to 5. Okay, now it's all about the JSX part. Let's take a deep here. Let's take a deep. Here you can see I have taken a deep here with couple of styles here. And if I go to see the final product, here you can see there is a two part, left and right? So we need to use a flex for, to show the two part in a same row. So let's use another div, right? So here you can see I have added flex, item center, and I mean couple of margin, right? Okay, inside that I have used this pane. So it's a just title items per page. So you can see here we have items per page, right? So we take it this items as a title, right? And there is a select. Why it is there is a select? So you can see we can select the 5, 10, 20, 30, right? So actually I have used a select here with styles, and there is a I have taken an array 5, 10, 20, 30, and I have mapped it used inside the options, right? So there is nothing complicated, but what I want to actually explain here, which is the value and on change, which is the important part, right? So these options and mapping an array to show the items in the options, it's not a big deal for you, I believe that, right? But what is important here, to get the value and the on change, how actually we understand the React table that we are actually making changes on the pagination part, right? So here we'll use again the helper function, which is coming from the table.get state, and we are getting the pagination.page size, right? And initially we have set it 5, right? So we are actually getting this item here inside the pagination, right? And whenever we are doing the on change, right, so there is a one more setter function to set the page size, which is table is giving us, right? Here you can see table.set page size, and what we are actually receiving from the options, right, 5, 10, 20, we are setting it inside the table pagination by using the set page size function. Again, it is coming from the table, and table is giving us, here you can see this use react table hook, this, right? So this table are giving us this setter function to set the page size, right? I believe you should be able to actually understand, because this is not that hard. I explained, right, how it actually works. Now if I see on the UI, you can see we have actually these items per page and select. We can actually select 5, 10, 20, 30, right? Now let's working on the the right portions here, right? So first let's take a deep here. You can see there is actually couple of buttons here. If I go to the final product, you can see there is a 1, 2, 4 buttons, right? And also there is a one input box also here, right? So let's try to add these buttons and input box. Okay, so here I have added a button. Here you can see it's a simple button tag. Forget about the class styles. I know you can do it. What I want to keep concentrate here, which is the on click one, right? So again, in the on click, we are actually using one of the helper function which is giving us set page index, and it will be disabled when we don't have any previous page, right? It is that simple. We are just using some helper function which is coming from the table, right? So let's import the chevron left icon, right? So we actually worked on this part, this one. Here you can see we have added this part. So we don't have any previous page, right? Since we didn't add the all functionality, so that's why you can see this is disabled for now, right? So let's add more this one, right? This and that, let's add those. Okay, so here I have used another functions here, which is the previous page. When we click on that, we'll actually move it to the previous page, and it will be disabled if we don't have any previous page, right? So it is, if you can see here, these two functions are same to disable this button, but here the difference is here we are in the on click we are using the set page index, and here we are actually moving to the previous page by using the previous page function which is coming from the table, right? So I believe we added these two part. Now if we go here, you can see these two button we have added. Let's add these portions, actually this input box and off to, or this dynamic number. Okay, so here you can see I have taken a span here, and this is the input box, right? That whatever we can see here in our final product, this is the input box. So we can actually write it here. See, if I write here, and I'm actually moving to that page, to be honest, right? So the same thing we have added here, that input here. So minimum 1, so minimum by default that has to be 1, right? And the maximum should be the get page count. So this get page count function will give us the maximum number of the actually page we can actually move it, or we can travel the page from 1 to the maximum page number, right? Which we are getting from the get page count functions. Definitely it has to be a number, right? And here important part, value and on change, how it is actually working here. You can see, first of all, we are get the state, right? We are get this table dot get state and pagination dot page index +1. That means it is giving us by default 0, and we are adding it 1 just for visible part. By default we are getting it 0. Whenever we are changing the page, at that time we are set the page index. Remember, we have used that set page index function in the first button. Here you can see, to set it the 0 to go to the first page, right? So the same thing, whenever we are on change the value in the input, right, at that time what we are doing, we are updating the set page index, right? But before that we are actually making it to the number. Here you can see, right? So this is that simple, right? And finally we are getting the get page count here. So get page count means the total pages we have, right? The total pages, right? Since we have a 7 items and we have added the items per page 5, that means we have a 7, the total 2 pages, right? Now if I make it to the 10, we should not have 2 pages, right? We have only 1 page, because our total item is 7 and we are setting it to the 10 items per page. If we change it to the 5, and our total page count should be changed to 2, right? I hope you got that point, right? Now let's work on these two button for the these two button, right? Here in the below of the span. Okay, so I have added 2 button. I just don't want to explain like how things work. I believe you already know how things actually working here. All the helper function is we are getting from the table, right? So previously we used the previous page, right? Now we are using the next page. It is simple, right? And it will be disabled if we don't have any next page, right? Same goes for here. It will be disabled when we don't have the next page, and we will set the page index that has to be the total page. Whenever we click on that, we'll redirect it to the last page actually, right? And let's import the icons here. Cool. So I believe that should work. Now by default we have 5 page. If we click on that, boom, we are moving to the second page. If we change it from here, we are moving to the again the page number 1. If we change it from here, we have only one items and we are getting all the items, right? Now let's make it to the 5. If I click, okay, we don't have any previous page, that's why these two buttons are disabled. If I click on that here, I should be able to actually getting the last page. If I click on here, we will be redirected to the page number 1, and our search is working as expected actually, right? And our the sorting also working as expected. All right, fantastic. So we have covered a good amount of learning and implementation. I wanted to mention that I have been following the TanStack Table documentation. It's straightforward and you will love it. I encourage you to explore it further. There is a lot more functionality available that we couldn't cover in these sessions, right? So if there is anything specific you'd like me to create another tutorial on, please let me know in the comments below. So that's it for now. I have also created a React machine coding round playlist. That's a must watch if you are preparing for your React machine coding interview. I have covered a lot in there. So be sure to check it out in the description and comment below to get the link. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.